So to find the distance, we're going to plot those 2 points. Remember, that was the first I can statement. You're going to go over 3 and up 2. X number means I'm stuck on 0 and I go down 1, 2, 3, 4. So we graph the pair first. Now we have to find the distance to the nearest 10th. So the distance would be if I connect the 2 dots. How am I going to find this distance right here? Pretend my line's straight. How do I find that distance? What can I create that would help me find that distance? A right triangle. So if you go straight across and straight down, you're going to form a right angle and a right triangle. What do we know if we have a right triangle? Max? Ooh, say the whole thing. Say it. We know a squared plus b squared equals c squared has to hold true. And we're always today going to be looking for c. So to be honest, this one's a step easier than the other day when sometimes they gave us the hypotenuse. It's 3 spaces this way in the x direction. And it's 6 spaces in the y direction. From 2 to -4 is 6 spaces. So when it crosses quadrants, sometimes people get it messed up. That's why I like to draw the pictures. Then I don't make that error. 3 squared plus 6 squared equals c squared. I do want to see your algebra. 9 plus 36 is c squared. 45 I hear is equal to c squared. If I have c squared, how do I get c all by itself? Find the square root. We're going to round to the nearest 10th. I hear 6.7. It's a distance. It doesn't tell us, so what are we going to use as our label? Units. There are a couple of problems today where they tell us. If they don't, then we're always just going to use units. And remember, distance is in 1 dimension, so it's just units. It's not units squared or units cubed. That end went really fast. Slow me down. Someone tell me where I understand where A and B came from. I understand how I made the triangle. I understand how to solve for B. For real? For real, for real? Okay. Turn over. So we're going to do all the odds on this page. Plus 14. I want to make sure that we get lots of practice with story problems because ultimately those are the ones you're going to run into. Turn over, though. We're going to work on number 1 together. And you can work in the margin. You can work on a separate sheet of paper. That's fine with me. I'll tell you when we get 1 done. Okay? Archaeologists really do set up a coordinate system using strings so they can keep track of where stuff comes from, because sometimes its location matters. 2 similar artifacts are found at position 1, 4 and at 5, 2. How far apart are they? Round to the nearest 10th. When you see the keywords how far apart, what are we looking for? We're looking for a... We're going to use the Pythagorean theorem because we're looking for a distance. And we're going to look for the hypotenuse. So here's what I do. They're all positives, so I'm just going to draw quadrant 1. I'm going to go over 5 and up 2. I'm going to go over 1 and up 4. I frequently label my points so I can see the numbers without having to look back at the story problem. You're not required to. How am I going to find this distance? Make a triangle. Does it matter if I go up or down? It actually doesn't. If it makes more sense to go across first and then down, or down first and across, it doesn't matter. Because remember, order doesn't matter. Those things you have to hold in your head. I promise I'm going to give you on the quiz 2 points and you're going to have to find the distance, which means I know that's the hypotenuse if I draw a triangle straight down and straight across. If I have a right triangle, then I can use the Pythagorean theorem. To go from 1 to 5 is how many spaces? 4. To go from 2 to 4 is how many spaces? From 4 to 2 is, it's actually -2. If I were asking for the slope, it'd be negative. But here, since we're squaring it, it doesn't matter. Does that make sense? So you need to know for slope, it will always matter. For here, because we're squaring it, negative times negative is a positive anyway. It doesn't matter. Now that I know my A and my B, what am I going to do? You got it. 2 squared plus 4 squared is equal to c squared, because that's a and b. You don't have to write the original equation out today. So 4 plus 16 is equal to c squared. I kind of feel like I'm flying. We're okay? 20 is equal to c squared. Why am I taking the square root? Because c squared, to get it by itself, I have to take the square root. It's going to be 4 point something because I'm estimating. Did you round to the nearest 10?
Yeah.
4.47 means it's 4.5. It doesn't give us a label, so what's our label? Units.